I decided to make this video in the light of the currently ongoing and highly publicized trial of a couple of Hollywood actors that, I must admit, has unexpectedly revealed to me some important aspects of human coexistence I want to talk to you about. For once, it will be interesting to use as a background a real-life example different than my own. And what an example it is. One that describes a fight for justice for everyone who has ever been in a toxic relationship of any type. I know we all have these experiences. The world has not seen a display of toxicity in such detail, where a failed relationship of two people is being dissected piece by piece for everyone to analyze and react to. While the whole world is watching the soap opera, I noticed that there are some surprising aspects of their relationship that everyone has missed, and I want to highlight them here for us to learn from. To those of you who don't follow this celebrity circus in the media, here's what is going on. The trial is about two celebrities. I will use the names John and Laura, and I'm forced to do this because of the algorithm censorship. John and Laura met in 2008 and they became a couple in 2011. They got married 4 years later in 2015, and within 1 year, Laura filed for divorce, alleging abuse and securing for herself a $7 million settlement. In 2018, she wrote an article describing her abuse but not naming her ex-husband in it. As a result of this, John's movie contracts were cancelled and he was effectively removed from all the franchises he was a part of. Hundreds of millions of dollars lost. So in 2019, he sued his ex-wife for $50 million in a defamation case, and a year later, he sued the publisher of a newspaper in the UK where he was called a wife-beater. He lost that case in England despite a huge amount of counter-evidence from police stating that he was innocent. In 2021, Laura countersued John for $100 million, and this year we've had the chance to witness the court battle between these two celebrities. It was only when we all started following the trial being broadcast live that we discovered the horrors of abuse from the hands of an extremely toxic person. But the abuser, as it turned out, wasn't who the whole world believed it was. For 6 weeks, we listened about how John's ex-wife was arrested in 2009 for beating her ex-girlfriend, how there's a video about her abusing her own sister both physically and mentally, and if that wasn't enough, we heard how Laura actually admitted herself in audio recordings to being the abuser. It quickly turned out that she was not a victim of domestic abuse, but actually the perpetrator. And we learned that she's on a crusade to generate as much positive publicity for her and her career in an extremely elaborate hoax to, as per her own words, take down a powerful man. We saw that toxic person lie under oath. We heard about her cheating with multiple men during their marriage. We heard movie studios and actors testifying against her, and we quickly noticed that for some reason, this woman has no friends. What the whole world learned was that this toxic person is a violent, conniving, argumentative, illogical, pretentious, and entitled, fake pathological liar. Someone you might have met yourself in your life, maybe multiple times. The sad aspect of what we witnessed was that it became apparent that we're dealing here with a psychotic behavior of a mentally disturbed individual. We all have toxic people in our lives, and it's important to realize that in some cases, some of them need professional help. There's nothing we can do here. Another interesting aspect of the trial was witnessing the world of toxicity on the display and how this world breeds these toxic people. We saw two spoiled celebrities with very toxic lifestyles being a byproduct of fame and enormous wealth. We saw what the intricate connections of the elite world of Hollywood looks like. We were given a chance to see how toxic fame can be and how quickly it can turn on someone. Simultaneously, we witnessed the viciousness and toxicity of the legal world and how it is filled with lies and deception. We saw a complete failure of the English legal system, which I know myself a lot about and something I'll talk about in future videos. We saw how corrupt and toxic legal system can make a criminal out of an innocent man, and we saw how that person can be denied the right to appeal by the court's ruling. We discovered an incredibly toxic world of misinformation generated by biased mainstream media and how it can easily be paid for to manipulate public opinion. Luckily, with no success in this case. But the really concerning aspect of that trial was social toxicity. how everybody got obsessed with this and how everyone tuned in on an hourly basis to get updates. Us, social media creators, are a big part of this, as it became clear that this is a viral subject that everyone can benefit from, fueling this reality show / soap opera frenzy. But there are lessons for us here that all social media creators and journalists missed. Millions of people received a valuable reference for their own relationship, a wake-up call. Laura's behavior made them realize that the toxic behavior they learned to be accustomed to and accept is actually not only unhealthy, but also potentially illegal. Once John was falsely accused of violent behavior, dozens of his ex-partners, friends, and co-workers came out testifying that his ex-wife's story is not true. In his case, the trial allowed him to clear his name and fight for justice. Many of us suddenly wished for their friends, partners, or family members to be put on a trial like this to be exposed for their toxicity. It is unlikely that we will ever have the chance for our misery to be objectively evaluated by an independent jury. But that story of a famous stranger fighting to get uncancelled became our story out of the sudden. A story of toxic human relationship, so familiar to many of us, taking many forms: toxic friend, toxic roommate, toxic coworker. Although we don't have the financial and social advantage, we woke up to the notion that it is not okay to be mistreated by a deranged energy vampire. John was lucky having experience with his previous partners. He knew what was going on and that it was toxic. But if it is your first partner, or your first boss, or even your parents, how are you supposed to know that what you're going through is not right? This is the reason why I think this trial is so important for all of us. It gave us the opportunity to evaluate the quality of our own relationships. When I started writing this video, I analyzed my own life, and I was shocked how many of these Lauras I found around me, both men and women. In order to fix a toxic relationship, first you have to know that you're in it, and you need to learn how these people behave. The main characteristic of a toxic relationship of any kind is that they make you feel bad about your life and yourself. These people drain your energy by twisting reality and making you feel insecure about many aspects of it. They're always projecting, accusing you of the things they do themselves. Toxic people completely defy logic and they lie a lot. Sometimes they're oblivious to the consequences of their actions, and some of them actually live for the chaos they're causing. They are major takers, and you'll be responsible for their well-being and safety. Your love will be conditional because they're always demanding and expecting something in return for whatever they do. For them, everything is a matter of exchange, and some of them will even blackmail you. They have controlling behavior and are possessive, trying to isolate you from others. The jealousy can have many forms. They're almost always egocentric and narcissistic, making everything about them. They'll try to get you dependent or even addicted to interacting with them. It is possible that as a result, they'll be setting up traps, or you will be walking on a situational minefield, never knowing what and when is going to blow up in your face. Aggression and even violence are the norm. They never take responsibility for their actions, and they will blame you for everything, maintaining a position of superiority over you. They always make excuses and break their promises. And this is why it is important that you get yourself out of these affiliations as soon as possible. Analyze your feelings and the situations that are problematic. Monitor the changes that occur when you're with that person, because if they make you feel bad once, you can be certain that it will happen again and that it will only get more frequent. Accept that people don't change and that things with them won't get better, but more than certain, it will all get worse. There's a very important medical reason why you should act quickly. As psychologically speaking, staying in a toxic relationship is the leading cause of all types of mental and physical health problems. Researchers have discovered that people in negative relationships are at high risk of developing heart problems, including strokes and fatal cardiac arrests. There is also something called toxic stress, which is a result of repeated exposure to trauma. It affects your brain and your whole nervous system. It is believed that you're a product of a few close people who shape who you are. And if one or more of them is a toxic person, you'll be affected negatively by this in many ways. If you're in a toxic relationship, it will poison every other area of your life. Your thoughts, your behavior, your feelings. It will affect everyone you interact with. Maintaining that type of relationship requires a lot of your time, energy, and sometimes even money. And these people eagerly take a lot of these things. You'll be giving everything you have and it will never be enough. All the energy you'll be putting into that person will be irrelevant and your attempts won't matter as you'll be the only one trying. These people make everything incredibly and unnecessarily complex and difficult. Eventually, you might stop respecting or being yourself because of having to put on a show to avoid these conflicts. You need to love and respect yourself to understand that you deserve healthy relationships in your life. Have boundaries and never let anyone walk all over you. People in your life are a measure of your self-esteem. They should be uplifting and motivating you. They should be adding value to your life, not taking it away. You need a healthy dose of egocentrism in dealing with people like that. You won't fulfill your purpose being stopped in your tracks by toxic people poisoning your reality. You have more important things to do, and your life is too precious here to waste it on someone's inner struggles you can do nothing about. You have a life ahead of you filled with purpose and wonderful moments, and you're worth so much more than the pointless dramas you are being unwillingly dragged into. This is your life and you deserve to be in control of it. Spend it wisely and productively. Have respect for yourself and don't let anyone treat you worse than you would treat yourself. Being in a relationship should be an amazing experience, not an exhausting and incapacitating chore. Save the energy for things that matter. Do not accept a low-quality life and perpetual charity work. Have the courage to be the best version of yourself and reject everything and everyone that stands in your way of achieving that. The verdict in the John and Laura case is simple. Both are guilty of an unnecessary toxic relationship that changed their lives forever. But the outcome of the trial is clear. John won 2 trials, one in court and one of public opinion, as we are all rooting for justice, and it seems for one of them, the karmic payback came faster than expected. Now I encourage you to put your toxic relationship on imaginary trial and see if you too can win.